I'm Tom Gualtieri.
I'm David Sisco.
I'm Words.
I'm Music.
David and I met at the BMI Lehman Engel Musical Theater Workshop back in 2003, and we've been writing together ever since. And even back then, we were frustrated by the lack of diversity on Broadway. So we pledged to each other that we would be committed to what was then called multi-ethnic casting.
Today, that idea has expanded beyond ethnicity to include artists from more communities than we can list here. Transgender, disabled, body positive, gender fluid, everyone you can or can't imagine. We want to create new work for artists from communities that haven't often seen themselves in the center of the story.
Draw the Circle Wide is our way of doing that while having important conversations about diversity and representation in the process. We interview artists from all walks of life, then we write a song just for them, based on their interview.
In this week's episode, we interview Jonathan Burke. Jonathan made his Broadway debut in Tuck Everlasting, then went on to understudy and eventually take over the lead role of Ferris in Choir Boy. He was most recently seen in The Inheritance, but we love that he played Bert in Mary Poppins and Lon in Meet Me in St. Louis. So we invited him to talk to us about, among other things, playing roles traditionally cast with white actors.
Okay, so my biggest inspirations, I would say, were my parents to begin with. They both just were amazing examples of love, intelligence, acceptance. They were business people, but they also were family people. They provided for us, they cared for us, nurtured us, and I just adore them. So they were great inspirations. It was about someone being able to be who they are regardless of what society may think. And that does not only apply to gay people, it applies to so many types of people not being accepted for who they are. And so I think a lot of people were able to see pieces of themselves in it, even if they weren't gay.
Cool. Did you have any reservations as an actor about taking a role in this show because of fear of typing?
Oh, that's a good question. I did not really, because I'm such a fan, A, of Terrell's work. B, I think that the representation really matters. So there may have been a moment that I thought, okay, if I do this role now, everyone's gonna think that I can only do gay roles. But then I said, I don't mind being a voice for the people that are not represented a lot. I appreciate that, and I'm grateful to represent some type of character that isn't often seen. So being a gay character, I'm all for it. I would do it again, and I would do other characters too. My father came over to my grandparents' house to pick up me and my brother to go see our newborn baby sister because she was born, and he wanted us to meet her. And I remember running upstairs into the bathroom, pulling the door, trying to lock it, didn't lock, so I had to pull it tight and close, and screaming, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. I think about it a lot. I just think about the relationship that I have with my father a lot now, because my father is now dealing with Alzheimer's. He has early onset Alzheimer's. He's only 63. He was diagnosed when he was 60. So I think about lost moments with him, or what our relationship could have been, things that weren't.
Hidden treasures the eyes can't see. Knock and the door will open if you just believe. Doesn't matter where you come from, but where you're gonna live.
Are there other moments with your father where you felt distanced from him, or exactly that thing that you're talking about, which is that feeling of when you look back on it now, you wish you had done something differently, you wish that you had maybe not been that 3.5-year-old?
he and my brother would go play sports all the time, and I just would be like, no, I don't want to go. But I could have, I could have done that, but I didn't.
Something that Jonathan said more than once, and I don't think he was even necessarily aware of it, but he said, I don't want to go. And I was like, that immediately struck me as a hook, especially when he's talking about his father now and how he's dealing with early onset Alzheimer's, and how now this time with his dad is so precious. I feel like that to me is a very natural arc for a song.
Yes.
A lot of people ask me, they say, what are you?
Ooh, right.
And it's like, well, I'm a human being, just like you.
Yeah.
But what they're getting at is I seem to be a mix of certain races that they aren't sure of how to pinpoint it, so they're curious. I can tell you a portion of my background, but there is a large portion that I wouldn't say. So for instance, my answer to that question would be, I'm black. I always identify as black, period, as a whole, as a race. Now, what does that black entail in terms of the African portion of? I have no idea.
Right.
Because of slavery. So I have zero idea of that. Now, I do know that in addition to whatever African ancestry I have, I also have Cuban ancestry, Native American, French, and Italian. So those are things that I can pinpoint because they were recorded exactly where they came from.
You're a fairly fair-skinned person. Do you find that influences the way you're cast or the roles you audition for?
There are times in which I'll audition for something and I will feel that I'm not black enough because I'm not immediately recognizable as a black person, what someone thinks of. Typically, dark-skinned, man is what they think of, and they think, oh, well, I think we need someone that, is just, we immediately see the difference between this black person and this other race. So that's very clear. So there are times that I feel like I have not gotten roles because of my skin being lighter. Now, I also think, on the flip side, there are times when I have gotten the role because they feel as though I'm a little less threatening.
I think, it strikes me as as a story song.
Yeah.
Like the first section is, when I was 3, this happened.
Yeah.
I don't want to go see her. And then the second verse is, when I was a teenager, I don't want to go, to play basketball with you. Chorus. And then that takes us to this moment of, seeing his father in decline, and I don't want to go. I know, we're together now, and I don't want to go because
Right. Well, that would be the turn on the hook. Would be through the bridge.
Can you speak a little bit about what is said, either in writing or in the room, and what is unsaid, and how you navigate that?
I find for me, they expect a certain type of energy from a black man to be that of someone from an inner city that's lived a hard life, and they say, oh, we need you to be a little more urban. Well, what does that mean, urban? People in urban places have all different types, but what they're trying to say is their stereotypical vision of a thug or, someone from the hood to them is someone that is hardened and, by life, which is not always the case, but that is what they expect from someone like me, I never thought that I could play Bert in Mary Poppins. I did the tour of Mary Poppins and I was in the ensemble. and it was great. I was happy to be there, but I never envisioned that I would actually play Bert. And then after that, I was able to play Lon Smith in Meet Me in St. Louis at the Muni, which was also something I never thought that I would be in. I mean, Judy Garland film, I really truly never considered. So I've been lucky to have these opportunities to do a lot of non-traditional casting that I know a lot of my friends have not. Mm-hmm. I would like to think it's just because of my range of talent and skills that I could bring to a room, you know, that is something different and something that is necessary. So I'm thankful for all
and
that.
hopefully people are starting to look past color and race and back to what you were saying before and looking at talent. Right. Who's the best person for the role?
In such a way that the phrase non-traditional casting becomes a thing of the past.
You know what? When I said it out my mouth, I thought that exact thing. The fact that I have to say non-traditional casting.
It shouldn't be a thing. It should be casting, period.
Period.
Yeah.
If I go to a new barbershop, they'll speak to me about, they'll start talking about women and like, oh yeah, so did you see that girl? Or like, who's your girlfriend or something? And sometimes I would just go along with it and not like, that's what I mean by like lack of a certain confidence and self-assurance. I would just go along with it and say, no, I'm just single now. You know, I wouldn't say, no, I actually have a boyfriend. you know, I would never just flat out say that because of fear that they will judge me in some kind of way or feel uncomfortable or ridicule or laugh. I don't know, anything that they could do. So I just rather just go under the radar and just lie about it and just cover up who I really am. I mean, I do that to this day. I don't feel completely uncomfortable in a barbershop like I used to when I was little, but I still do have those moments where I shy away from myself.
This is a new level of our collaboration. I'm working off my little keyboard on my.
That's.
But this is how we roll when
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yes. I don't wanna go. I said, I don't wanna go. I didn't have the strength to say, Daddy, I'm afraid. I said, I don't wanna go. No, Daddy, I don't wanna go. And I ran into my room and locked the door.
So what do you want to see happen in the arts in terms of diversity? And what is one step people in the arts can take toward that?
Okay, what I want to see is complete equality and acceptance among all genders, races, types, you know, all people of the human experience represented, so that we don't have to say things like non-traditional casting, so that the world is represented in the way that we see it every day.
We want to give a special thank you to Jonathan for speaking from the heart. I can't wait to hear Jonathan's song.
It has orchestrated the house down.
If you want to hear Jonathan's new song, you can check it out in a separate video, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll get an announcement.
If you would like to find out more about becoming an ally, please see the resources in the description below this video.
With Draw the Circle Wide, we are committed to shining a spotlight on diversity and representation.
And we hope this webisode has encouraged you to draw the circle wide in your own life.